What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the physique update of Samson. So we aren't really sure whether it was taken yesterday after a back workout or is it a few days older. Well, let's just assume that this was taken at 46 days out of this year's Mr Olympia. Yep, you guys heard that right. This is how close we are to the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. And all I have to say is just compare the current conditioning of Samson this far out versus what we saw at last year's Mr Olympia, or even at this year's Arnold. First of all, this current variation of the most muscular. That looks so much better on Samson. The arms look significantly bigger in this one. The condition for Samson, who has never been the guy who is ripped on the stage. What I mean by that is who doesn't have the conditioning the likes of Hadi Choopan, Derek or Nick Walker has. But I have to say his conditioning right now looks absolutely insane. And looking at this, it is no wonder that Samson seems so confident, even this far out of the show in this prep. Now win or lose, that is of course in the hands of the judges as well. But if Samson shows up at his career's best, and his trajectory is pointing towards that, I have to say that will be a great accomplishment for Samson. He was second at this year's Arnold UK, but he was at ease with the decision of the judges. At the same time, people had this argument that Samson was already in shape for the Arnold Ohio, and he just depleted for one more week. And he showed up a lot better than the Arnold Classic Ohio. Now what if Samson and the team around him, they are able to beat his Arnold UK package and show up at his all-time best in 7 weeks time? Will that be a bad look for Milos Sarcev? Will he look like a coach who was unable to figure out Samson's body? Next up, we have a 46 days out physique update of Akim Williams. Talk about the best side shorts in the business of bodybuilding right now. Akim Williams easily makes into that top 3 in terms of side chest as well as side tricep. So the detail that you guys are seeing right now on the side of Akim, that is unmatched by most of the guys, even some of the guys who are going to be in the first call out at this year's Mr Olympia. So right now it seems like Akim is on his way to present his all-time best ever. He had some time to work on his weaknesses after winning this year's Toronto Pro, but we all know his back isn't going to improve in just a matter of a few months. You can even say that his back, specifically his back double biceps, that will forever be his weakest shot. Because the thing is, if it were to improve, it would have improved already. But the overall muscularity of Akim, that will definitely level up a notch. So we saw his guest posing pictures just a few weeks ago, where he looked big and full as a house. So there aren't many guys who can outmuscle Akim Williams, and the back double bicep is just one shot. And I think we can all agree, it should not have more weightage than all the other mandatories. So I think it is gonna come down on how close to perfection Chris Aceto is able to pick Akim. Because we saw how this guy can be so off that he was in 7th place at this year's Arnold Classic prejudging. And in just 24 hours, he made such an impressive transformation that he was able to shock the entire bodybuilding world, and he landed in the solid top 4. Next up, we have another 46 days out physique update of the next big thing, Muhammad Foda. So back in the 90s and the early 2000s, there was this trend that almost all the pro bodybuilders, they trained twice per day. Even the legend Jay Cutler, he used to train twice a day, and he did that for most part of his career. So Foda is a guy who loves to train, and he also trains twice daily. So you are looking at a guy who dominated the Chicago Pro competition, and if he was really shredded at Tampa Pro too, especially if he had the same conditioning as John De Rosa, he could have won that too as well. So I have to say Foda is gonna be absolutely formidable from the front. And his side shorts are also crazy impressive. I mean, the man has got insane size, amazing flow, very impressive aesthetics. Now if his back was as good as his front, he would have been a guaranteed top 10 Olympian even this year at his pro debut. I'm not saying that it still cannot happen at all, but in order for him to accomplish that this year, he needs to bring even better conditioning and even more polished midsection than what we saw at Tampa Pro, and hope that some of the other guys who are gonna be in those 7 to 10 spots, they coming off. And also I think maybe he needs to hit a different variation of that abs and thigh shot. The only concerning thing about Foda is that he has been prepping for most part of the year. He was so ready weeks out of Chicago Pro. I mean, he was so ready that we were all wondering why he isn't competing more. So hopefully he is able to beat that Chicago Pro look in 46 days at his Olympia debut in October. we finally got to see a new physique update from Ramon Dino. So this will be the 4th consecutive Mr Olympia of his career. So Ramon rose to the top very quickly. He was top 5 at his Olympia debut, and he has been placing 2nd in the last 2 years consecutively. I mean, Ramon was so far ahead of Urs that they had a 2-man call-out, Chris and Ramon, in both 2022 and 2023. And Sebum himself admitted that Ramon was able to push him really hard last year. The margin by which Chris Bumstead won the mandatories, that became very little. Now Ramon did lose some hype after losing to Wesley Weezers at this year's Arnold. But who knows, he might show up looking for redemption at his all-time best. Just like Ronnie Coleman showed up at the Olympia 2003 after losing to Gunther Schulkamp at that famous GLC show of strength. So Ramon has shown great commitment, especially during this prep, lifting very hard and very heavy, and for the last 18 weeks or so. And that is something that was missing at this year's Arnold. He did not have his trademark density and muscle maturity because that was only a 6 weeks prep for this year's Arnold. But this time he has been in the gym when we were even more than 20 weeks out. So his face has also started to sunk in, which only means that his coach Chris Aceto, he has started to push him extremely hard now. So we all know that Ramon has to make that weight cutoff, and that will always remain a challenge for him, even after these new weight regulations in Classic. The former 2 times Mr Olympia Big Ramy was spotted training back today, and that picture where Ramy is standing in the middle of that group, that is what he's known for. Humongous size. Before we had Samson, who goes as high as 330 pounds in the off-season. We had Big Ramy during the years, from 2015 onwards, where he was hitting 350 pounds, especially in the off-season. So could Big Ramy have won the Olympia if he showed up the way he did in 2020 during that Phil Heath win? Now Phil thinks he would have still beaten that package, and I think most of us would agree with that, because that was a different Phil Heath, that was a different era. Now the more we look at this last competition of Big Ramy, which was the Arnold Classic 2023, the more you feel that he got seriously overlooked, and he has got some gas left in his tank before he says goodbye to the sport of bodybuilding for good. So he was definitely working with Patrick Tour at some point during this year's Mr Olympia prep. But we do not know what happened between these guys, why they parted ways, before even doing one prep together, because I think that could have been very interesting. So Big Ramy has done a total of 9 Mr Olympias, and he won 2 of those. The question right now is that, does he have another one in him? Will he go for another Mr Olympia? So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.